Okay, this is DeagleBeagle, and today we're going to talk about a lot of the different Pokemon that get loaded dice. Now, loaded dice is an item that makes you hit 4 to 5 times, except for Population Bomb, it hits 4 to 10 times. I don't know why they make an exception for Pop Bomb. I guess because it hits 10 times. I don't know if there's another move too that like Pop Bomb that hits more than 5 times that they make an exception for. Let's see. Multi-hit moves. I want to say almost like, how many times does Tail Slap hit? 2 to 5 times? Maybe there was some other move I was thinking of, like Barrage, that hits 5 times. Okay, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember many moves hitting more than 5 times. But maybe there's a move that does. Not this one. You could figure it out probably from the average power. Fury swipes is how many? Okay, yeah, Population Bomb might be the only move that hits more than 5 times. How come it doesn't even have Population Bomb in here? Oh, it does, down here. Accuracy dependent, multiple strikes. Some of these hit only twice or 3 times, some hit up to 5 times. But yeah, there's not a lot of moves that hit more than 5 times. I think Population Bomb might be the only one. Anyways, moving on. Heracross is not top tier. It is actually pretty underrated, but if I did use it without Mega Horn, I'd probably use it like this with Rest Guts, Sleep Talk. It does work with Sleep Talk Guts. People did use this even in Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald. Like 15 years ago, they used Rest, Sleep Talk, Mega Horn. But in this case, I would probably use Low Kick over Close Combat on average, because you're going to hit most of the fighting weak Pokemon hard enough to kill them. There's not going to be a ton of lightweight Pokemon that are weak to like Low Kick or even neutral to it. So Low Kick is pretty good, possibly better than Close Combat, especially on this set where you don't want to lower your defenses while you're using Rest Sleep Talk. I didn't even EV it because we're just going over basically the move, Pin Missile. And you don't have to use Terra Bug with it, but that's just an idea to make it hit even harder. So you would Super Effect Meowscarada it and one-shot it through its Sash. So it might be okay, but I still don't think Heracross would be as good when you can use other Pokemon as like Baxcalibur with Icicle Spear loaded dice, but it is an option. And loaded dice is an option for Garganacl, even though you probably shouldn't use it like this. You should probably use more of a defensive item, not use it offensively, but at least it gives you something to hit them hard with besides Salt Cure. You can use Rock Blast to like do more immediate damage versus stuff, and could kill a Meowscarada. So it does have decent attack. 100 base is actually a decent amount, but probably not the most recommended set on it, but it is an option. Now this Pokemon is unique. Bombardier, it possibly is underrated, but when you compare it to something like Iron Jugulus, it's probably going to be worse, but maybe not necessarily. The nice thing about this though is that you essentially have a third stab move if you use Rock as a third stab move because of Rocky Payload, even though you need an ability to support that. So you could use either Rock Slide with it without loaded dice, or use Rock Blast. You might want to use Rock Blast with loaded dice, and you would help kill stuff like Meowscarada in one hit. And killing things with Sash in one hit could be quite useful because it's one less hit that you gotta hit Meowscarada with. And you don't take all that damage from Brave Bird recoil. So that is an option. Also, Dreadnought, usually they use Rock Slide because they want to flinch something, and Sash to keep it alive. But if you want to try out this loaded dice set with Rock Blast, you could outspeed and one-shot Meowscarada with it, possibly. And also Zarnia, whatever. Normally, people use either Power Whip with it and risk it missing, or they use, I want to say, Trop Kick with it. And that's 70 power, and it lowers their attack. I think the good players are more likely to use Trop Kick because they don't want to risk Power Whip missing, unless they have wide lens, but they need a whole item for that. I guess you could say you need an item for this too, but you could use Bullet Seed with it. And that would one-shot Sash, Lycanroc, and whatnot with it, and be 100 at 125 power. So that would be comparable to the Power Whip, and it wouldn't miss. But me personally, I would probably prefer to use Wide Lens Power Whip if I'm also using a move like High Jump Kick or something, because it would boost that accuracy as well. It would boost Play Rough accuracy. Let's see Picolytics if it does show Zarnia. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think normally people say Zarnia, but see, Trap Kick is very common. So is Power Whip, but Play Rough is a common move with it. People don't use High Jump Kick a lot because if they protect, then it recoils 50%. So you got to keep that in mind. A lot of people don't even use it for that reason, and when it misses, it recoils. So I don't know if I would recommend High Jump Kick on it. Probably not. Personally, I don't know if I would use it. I would probably use either Bullet Seed or Trop Kick. If you're using Wide Lens, you could use Power Whip and you would boost the accuracy of Play Rough too. And even if you have 100% accuracy with Wide Lens, that would help versus like Sandvale, Garchomp or something, or if your accuracy gets lower from Muddy Water. But Bullet Seed with loaded dice in summation would be pretty useful if you're not if you're just using like accurate moves, all accurate moves, and you don't need to boost your other moves. But if you're using something like Play Rough, I would use Wide Lens maybe and Power Whip over Bullet Seed. But that the advantage of loaded dice is that you kill Sash Pokemon that Power Whip wouldn't have. So depends on what you're trying to do. Loaded dice, we went over this on another video, but you can basically use loaded dice Rock Blast over Rock Slide, and that would be really useful for killing Sashes. But me personally, I would probably not recommend loaded dice on Iron Thorns because you typically want loaded dice on moves that have 100% accuracy. If you're investing a whole item into a Pokemon, you probably want to use it on accurate moves. Because like you use a loaded dice, and what if Rock Blast just misses? You know, it's like, and there might be other better loaded dice Pokemon like Baxcalibur. And if you're using this with its Dragon Dance, you might want to use your speed to flinch stuff. Flinches can be really good, so I don't know if I would recommend Rock Blast with it, but you could use it to kill Meowscarada and stuff. And then, how come I didn't include Baxcalibur? I'll include that. Icicle Spear, loaded dice. That, I'll just go over it really quick. That was used in San Diego and etc. really well, because loaded dice has between 100 and 125 power with icicle spear, so that's essentially comparable to like a choice band icicle spear without having to be locked into a choice like one attack. So loaded dice, I didn't think it was that good of an item at first, because I was thinking you can just use like Dragon Dance with it and use Icicle Crash and then have some sort of item with it like Life Orb or whatever. But actually the main move you would want to use with Excalibur might be Icicle Spear, is Glaive Rush. It makes it so that I believe it's not the same turn you use it, but only the next turn, where you take twice as much damage. But even still, you might want to use Icicle Spear to not have that drawback with loaded dice and just hit hard. So loaded dice is probably the best way to use Excalibur. I was using a Scarf one too to outspeed Meowscarada, where you didn't even need loaded dice, because it should be able to super effect it, outspeed it, and knock it out usually in one hit. I have another video specifically on Excalibur that goes over that, and then we'll go over Breloom too, because it gets Technician and Bullet Seed, so you get the not only the stab grass for Bullet Seed, but you get Technician. So that could be a really useful way to use Breloom, even though Breloom might want Sash because it doesn't have great defenses or HP. But loaded dice Bullet Seed would be pretty powerful. That'd be like 120, 125 or 100 power with a stab move and Technician, so I'd hit really hard. And then this one, it doesn't get stab, but it's like the only Pokemon I think that gets Bone Rush, because there's no Marowak. So Bone Rush can be a 125 power move potentially, or 100 with loaded dice sometimes, I think half of the time, and you would hit him pretty hard. But if it doesn't have stab, personally, I probably wouldn't use Bone Rush. I was just trying to give you guys more options after going through this whole list. I wouldn't normally use loaded dice on a normal move, because that's not going to super affect anything, so the offensive potential is just not there, or probably worth it. So I didn't even bother including like Comet Punch or Tail Slap or whatever. And usually if you look at it, the power tends to be lower, or it misses more often, like 85% or something. I don't know why. Now, no one has really, that I've seen, tried loaded dice Roaring Moon, and this was on my options for the Roaring Moon video. Scale Shot is a pretty interesting move. It can miss though, is probably the main drawback with it, and you require an item. But if you can use a dragon move a lot, it could be pretty good as long as it hits. Scale Shot raises your speed even after the hit, but lowers your defense. Overall, I think that would probably slightly help more than it would hurt, because if you raise your speed, if you have enough offense, you can try to finish off the physical Pokemon that would hit you with your lower defense. So I don't mind that. What I'm most worried about is its accuracy, and them having a fairy type or whatever to wall the Scale Shot. But this would make it more offensive than Dragon Claw, and I expect to see this on some Roaring Moons. So as far as I covered pretty much all the good Pokemon that would use loaded dice, I think, in this video, because I looked at like every single move in here that's used that you can use, and that's pretty much it. Some of these moves that only hit twice, like Double Kick, loaded dice wouldn't do anything for it, because it only hits at most 2 times. So I think I covered everything. Thanks for watching.